page 82. And let's start from there.
The Jews of
Malagasy? Yeah. Uh-huh.
The Jews of the Malagasy Republic.
So that's where we were. Go ahead.
There is an island near the southeastern coast of Africa called the Malagasy Republic. The old name for this island was Madagascar. Near the eastern part of this island on the Isles of Saint Marie, there exists a group of black Jews who call themselves Zafim, Ibrahim, descendants of Abraham. Professor Alan H. Godby says that the same alphabetic writing that was present in Palestine about 650 BC appeared at the same time in Malaysia. Moreover, he says, since the Hovis of Madagascar are members of the Malayan family who probably immigrated from Cambodia, this indicates the historical connection with the Jews of Madagascar.
Can you raise it up, please?
Like the Jews of Ethiopia, Uganda, and Wasambara, there are a multiplicity of Jewish cultural survivals, complexes, patterns, and traits found functioning among the Jews of Madagascar, such as the following. The day counted from sunset to sunset, many fast days, the eating of beef, the New Year festival, the making of a small fire on the first evening of the feast. They have rituals of the purification of the people. They sprinkle blood of the New Year's ritual upon the doorposts. The latter ritual could be reminiscent of the Passover ceremony, which is observed in the month of Abib. This month is the first month of the Jewish civil New Year. In this month, the kings of Israel were inaugurated.
Right. Now let's go to Wikipedia. Now, you know, after this, you know they're going to take Wikipedia down. They're going to take this page down. It says, culture of Madagascar, yes. Go to the worldview section. Worldview and religious, it says under introduced religions. Keep going. Introduced religions. Right there. Go down to the paragraph that says many Malagasy believe. Right there. Read that.
Yes, sir. Many Malagasy believe they are descended from ancient Israelites and refer to a Malagasy Jewish diaspora Joyce-Gassi, with asserted signs such as dietary, menstrual, and life cycle practices.
The word Joyce is Jews. Gassi is for Malagasy. Go ahead.
In 2011, a normative Jewish movement was started and soon recognized by the government.
Yeah, Amalek went through there. Go ahead.
Islam is practiced by around 7%.
No, that's all I wanted. Go to the next one, the next article. Judaism in Madagascar.
Judaism in Madagascar.
Now go under theories of Jewish origin of Malagasy people. And I want the sentence that begins with the Marina Royal Line. The Marina Royal, right there. Go ahead, read that.
The Marina Royal Line has often claimed to descend from an ancient wave of Israelite migration that arrived via Asia in Madagascar after being exiled by the Neo-Babylonian Emperor Nebuchadnezzar. And tomorrow, people claim Moses as their forebearer. Saklava and Tadroi people explain certain taboos within their respective cultures as originating with ancient Israelite ancestors. Some Malagasy theories of Jewish provenance suggest ancestral origin in one or more of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Most commonly, Gad, Issachar, Dan, and Asher. Another narrative linking...
That was it. That's all I wanted out of that thing. Yeah, go ahead, say it on the mic. Now, if you had to pick a tribe, which would you say was primarily there?
Asher, because the slave ships took them from Madagascar and brought them to Rio de Plata. The slaves that survived that trip, because the bottom part of the southern Cape Good Hope is the southern portion of Africa. The current there is very strong, so the slave ships had to slow down and to make the trip longer for the slaves to endure. So the slaves that survived that long trip were seen as a wonder. So they were brought to pretty much Rio de Plata, I believe, is Brazil. That's where they brought that group to. So we know that Northern Kingdom is predominant in the Malagasy among the people. We came across a sister. She said that her forefathers are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. She told that herself. That was one of the locals. So they all know.
Yep.
We also asked the people there about them being brought over in slave ships. They said, yes, we know we were brought over to America in slave ships. So they teach that in their schools there also.
All praises. All praises. So, you know what this means?
Yeah.
The 12 tribe chart is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's right.
Yeah.
Now, the dangerous thing what Amalek does, they like to go in and spread their poison so that certain people will reject Christ, reject the new covenant. Put that on the screen. This is what, as soon as you see them little yarmulkes on people, be very mindful. That's what they do. They try to indoctrinate you to reject the New Testament. That's what they do. Give me.
The land of the heart of living stone.
Or
the genius of the Bantu.
where was this published?
1920.
1920. Let's go inside the book, page 20. So they go through all of the Bantu tribes. All right, raise it up for time's sake. Raise it up. Start right there.
Yes, sir. When it is realized that these terms include not solitary tribes, but groups of tribes, aggregating in some cases several millions of souls, the force of this presentation of the tribal groups of the people known as the Bantu will appear.
Read.
Having briefly outlined the location of the tribal groups of the Bantu as distributed throughout Central and Southern Africa.
So we went to Southern Africa. So we went to the East Africa and we went to Southern Africa on this quest. Go ahead.
To the Cape of Good Hope.
That's where we were, Cape of Good Hope. Go ahead.
And from coast to coast, we next come to the hypothesis extant with regard to the origin of these interesting peoples.
Page 31.
It is allowed that groups of Israelitish peoples have from time to time journeyed into the upper Nile country, but this does not seem to sufficiently account for the large access of influence of which the Bantu are the concrete result. In the absence of direct proof of an extensive migration, this hypothesis brings us two considerations, viz., those of customs, religious and otherwise, and all those of language relations.
Also those of language relations. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. The contention has been made that the extraneous element of the Bantu was derived from tribes of Israel.
Y'all see that right there? Go ahead.
Which were first carried away to Babylon, as related in the scriptures, and who afterward, in whole or in part, migrated through Egypt.
They went through Egypt. Go ahead.
Into equatorial Africa. And through mingling with native tribes.
And through mingling with native, the same way Northern Kingdom on this side mingled with Esau and Judah, they were mingling with Hamites in Africa. Go ahead.
Upon whom?
And Hamites and Arabs. Go ahead.
Upon whom they imposed much of their own religion and customs, gave rise to the peoples now known as Bantu.
So they all know on that side that they are the Bantu tribes. So from there, give me the next book, Flaming Torch. Read that.
The Flaming Torch in Darkest Africa.
When was this written?
Published in 1898.
Okay, give me page 331. Read the highlight.
Yes, sir. The custom to this day of some of the tribes of living in boots constructed from the branches of trees at a certain season of the year, observing ceremonies identical with those of the children of Israel. The liberation of a cock in the wilderness to carry away the transgressions of the people. The practice of circumcision, so general among the Zulus, seemed to link them with the period following the Exodus. The traditional history of Abyssinia connects it with that of the Jews 8,000 years before Christ, when it records the visit of the Queen of Sheba to King Solomon.
So they compared it, they said they know the Zulus were Israelites. Give me the next book.
Black Jews in Africa and the Americas.
Let's go inside and start where I got You see where I got the arrow?
Yes, sir.
Start there. There is a remarkable.
Yes, sir. There is a remarkable collection of material collected by James Stewart, 1868 to 1942, a magistrate and fluent speaker of Zulu, with a unique sense from the time in which he lived and of the need to record in detail the historical beliefs, traditions, and customs of the Zulu people. In his papers, we are vouchsafed one privileged glimpse of a particular conversation, which reflects very clearly the kinds of processes we have been contemplating. In 1901, Stewart spent a day at the Royal Hotel in Ladysmith interviewing 3 Zulu elders in an attempt to recreate something of the Zulu past from the oral history retained by these men. In the conversations, one of them, Lazarus Maba, traced Zulu history back to ancient Israel and Greece and suggested that the Zulus were descended from the lost tribes of Israel.
Damn! Go ahead.
Many customs of the Zulus, Maba maintained, were common to Jews as well. He
Might be Mzaba.
Mzaba.
Yeah.
Maintained were common to the Jews as well. He specifically mentioned the butchering of sacrificial meat and the burning of incense for sacrificial and other ritual purposes. He also maintained that the Jews, like the Zulus, slit their earlobes.
You know in Deuteronomy it says if you love your master, you would put it all through your ear? Yeah, go ahead.
These common features prove to Mzaba that there had been contact between the Jews and the Zulus in the past. Stewart accepted that such common features existed, but could not understand how the Zulus could be descended from the lost tribes of Israel, since they had lost any knowledge of the Godhead.
Listen good to this part.
Mzaba pointed out that even the Israelites had forgotten their God and started worshiping the golden calf. If the Israelites could forget in such a short time, clearly it was not surprising that in the course of the centuries, the Zulus had forgotten too.
Right. Go ahead. Watch this.
Stewart mentioned that in fact there were those in Britain
The white man.
who believed that the British too were descended from the lost tribe.
Really? We'll watch the next part.
Mzaba wanted to know what points in common existed between the British and the Jews. Stewart had no ready reply.
No ready reply. See how the Edomite is? That's the same way today when you ask them, prove you're a Jew. They can't do it in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Mzaba was unimpressed.
Unimpressed. Go ahead.
He was convinced that it was the Zulus who in fact were the lost children of Israel, and that they would be redeemed when they remembered and started worshiping their lost and unknown God.
That's 1 Kings 8. That's some good stuff. We're going to skip right there. Give me the next book for time's sake. But it got some good stuff in it. Read that.
The Cambridge History of Judaism, Volume 7.
When was this written?
1500 to 1815.
Let's go to page 1030. Highlighted section only.
New information about Jewish communities or imagined Jewish communities in sub-Saharan Africa came chiefly from Arab historians and geographers.
Jump down to the next section.
Scroll a little bit.
Lower it down a little bit. Go ahead, N.A.
In a postscript to the English edition entitled A Summary Discourse of the Manifold Religions Professed in Africa, John Pori noted, at this day also, the Absines affirm that upon the Nilus towards the west, there inhabiteth a most populous nation of the Jewish stock under a mighty king, and some of our modern cosmographers set down a province in those quarters, which they call the land of the Hebrews, placed as it were under the equinoctial in certain unknown mountains between the confines of Absin and Congo. John Ogilvy, 1600 to 76, a translator and publisher, gave further information about Jews in the continent in his Africa London, 1670. He noted, of the coast of Guinea, many Jews also are scattered over this region. Some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the river Niger. Others are Asian strangers who fled hither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian or from Judea wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, and Christians. And Ogilvy also included the suggestion by Leo Africanus that Jews were to be found in the inland areas.
Go ahead, next page.
By the 18th century, there were many descriptions in travel and missionary accounts of the lost tribes of Israel, Jews or descendants of Jews living along the western coast of Africa. There were also accounts of residual traces of Judaism practiced in these areas. Perhaps the most famous of these is the one contained in Alauda Equano, celebrated biography. The interesting narrative of the life of Alauda Equano, or Gustavus Vasa, the African, 1789.
Jump down.
A Scottish explorer, Mungo Park, 1771 to 1806, described having encountered what he called Arabic-speaking Jews in West Africa on the left bank of the river Niger, and remarked that there were said to be many Jews nearby Timbuktu. The community in Timbuktu is well attested, and its probable descendants, now Muslims, still proudly invoke the Jewish origins.
So those Muslims were Jews. Go ahead.
Of their group.
Give me the next page, for time's sake.
Indeed, throughout the period of the colonization of Africa, countless African languages would be understood as deriving from Hebrew or some other Semitic language. Cole published a very successful book, The Present State of the Cape of Good Hope, which also claimed that many, if not most, of the general customs and traditions of the Caution were connected with those of the Jews.
We met a lot of them.
The Khoisan people are the people that the Bantus came in contact with in South Africa. They speak the clicking language. Kosak, that's how they speak. And we got that language from them. So we took Hebrew along with their language and merged it together. So that's called Kosa. Or they speak of clicks. Clicks are pronunciation of words. How you pronounce words, they use a click. So that's where the language came from. So it's Hebrew mixed with Khoisan. So the Bantus and pretty much mixed with and merged out the original inhabitants. They look like Moab. They're black. They have Moabite features. So a lot of us over there in South Africa have real chinky eyes mixed around the Khoisan people over there. That's what that is, Khoisan people.
Go ahead.
The Khoisan, he argued, could be counted among the children of Abraham, as they were indeed of Jewish blood. Genetic evidence established toward the end of the 20th century suggested that Judaizing tribe of Lemba of southern Africa, known as Waremba, in Shana speaking areas, are of possible Jewish origin.